Filing the articles with the Secretary of State and paying the formation fee is the central step. And for some coaches, that step alone is the entire registration story. For others, the state stacks one or more additional layers of registration on top of the formation filing, different agencies, different portals, different fee structures, none of which the Secretary of State filing process flags for you. This video names the additional layers that exist in the states that have them and gives you the search pattern to find what your specific state actually requires before you assume you're done. Forming isn't registering everywhere, and that's the point of this video. Filing the articles is one step. Some states require additional business registration steps that are completely separate from the formation filing. Different agency, different portal, different application, different fee, not every state. But the burden of checking is on you. The Secretary of State doesn't email you a checklist of the other agencies you might also need to register with. In most states, the formation filing is the primary registration, and that's the baseline to recognize. You file articles with the Secretary of State, pay the formation fee, and the state issues a certificate of formation or organization. The LLC is registered for general business purposes. Most of the additional layers are about taxation, occupational licensing in adjacent fields, or local level requirements that only kick in if you have specific triggers. So the first message of this video is calibration. For many coaches in many states, the formation filing is the whole job. Don't go invent additional work that doesn't apply to you. Where additional layers exist, they fall into three categories worth naming. State business license or business privilege license, separate from formation, issued by a different agency, common in states like Alabama and Washington. Occupational licenses for adjacent licensed fields. If you're a coach who is also a licensed mental health professional, a dietitian, or a financial advisor, that occupational license has its own registration regardless of your LLC structure. State tax account registration with the Department of Revenue, required if you'll collect sales tax or hire employees, covered in detail in Module 5. None of these are automatic from the formation filing. The layers live in agencies other than the Secretary of State, which is why coaches miss them. The state business license is often issued by the Department of Revenue or the Department of Commerce. The occupational license sits with the relevant professional board for the regulated field. The tax account registration is the Department of Revenue or sometimes a separate revenue agency. Each one has its own portal, its own application, its own fee schedule. Nothing in the Secretary of State filing process emails you a checklist of the other agencies you might need to register with. That's the structural reason this video exists. The reliable search pattern for finding your state's requirements is short and worth memorizing. Search the phrase your state name plus how to register a business. For example, Colorado, how to register a business, or Alabama, how to register a business. Look for the official.gov result, usually the state's business portal, or the Secretary of State's Business Resources page. The Small Business Administration site at sba.gov publishes a state-by-state business registration guide that's usually accurate. State economic development offices often have step-by-step pages oriented to new business owners. Avoid legal services aggregator sites that come up in the same search. They're frequently outdated and have referral incentives. The sales tax question deserves a pointer because it's the registration coaches most often get wrong by registering when they shouldn't. For most coaching practices in most states, coaching services themselves are not subject to sales tax. The full decision tree is in Module 5.2. If you sell only one-on-one coaching, group coaching, or other professional services, you typically do not need a sales tax account. If you sell physical products, digital downloads like courses, or some group programs that the state has decided are taxable, you may need an account. Don't open the sales tax registration today. Run the Module 5.2 decision tree first. Then register if the answer says you need to. A directed walkthrough grounds the search pattern in a specific state. A coach in Colorado files the LLC articles online through the Colorado Secretary of State portal. Immediate confirmation. She then runs the Search Colorado New Business Registration. The result surfaces My Biz Colorado, the state's unified business registration portal. She runs the decision tree. No sales tax account today because she's selling coaching only. No state withholding account because she has no employees. The general LLC registration was completed at formation. She marks the layer review complete, adds sales tax registration as a deferred item to revisit if she launches a digital course, and moves on. Action before the next video is the search pattern applied to your state. Search your state name plus register a business. Read the official.gov result. Write down every step that is separate from the Secretary of State filing. State business license if it exists, occupational layers if they apply, tax account if you have a trigger. Add each one to your LLC formation checklist as a discrete task. Check them off as you complete them. The failure mode in this unit isn't getting any single registration wrong. It's not knowing the registration existed at all and finding out at year end when a state agency notices.